Does it look like I'm hydrating? I'm not, it's Coke. If you're like, Nicole, oh my God, how is your skin so clear and so beautiful right now? Your guess is as good as mine. I just started that lovely time of the month and I'm breaking out and I'm all fat and bloated and grumpy. Anyway, I wanted to talk about two things in this video. In the first video that I made, I told you guys what type of content to expect now that I'm over here on this platform. But I want to talk to you, one, about the type of delivery of said content, and also about an update on my querying journey of trying to get traditionally published. But let's talk about querying. I don't want to talk about querying first. Let's talk about whatever the other thing is that I said. Oh yeah, the delivery of the content on this channel. I mentioned in the first video that I wanted to do a lot of self-publishing videos, teaching people how to do things. I'm by no means an expert. I've just self-published a few books and I have dealt with Ingram Spark and Amazon and all that kind of stuff, and it can be overwhelming if you don't know where to start. So that's what I want to do, is do how-to videos with that. Aside from those videos, anything else that is like a writing vlog, this is almost out. I love watching day in the life stuff of people doing whatever they're doing. But what I don't like is, and it's nothing to do with them, it's just my personal preference, but when I watch a video of, let's say, somebody making breakfast, and there's like 15 different shots, and there's an overhead shot, and there's a side shot, and there's a close-up, and there's all this. It looks beautiful when it's all put together. But I have tried doing videos like that on TikTok, and they are a bitch. Not just to film, but to edit. They are a bitch to edit. And I don't want to spend a whole bunch of my time editing. And it's not because I don't like those kinds of videos, but it feels, that style, that trying to curate every shot to be very aesthetic, feels a bit inauthentic to me. And I can say that because I have tried to do that, or I have done that a couple times on TikTok. It's tiring and it doesn't feel real, and it takes away from it. And everybody always has these beautifully, beautiful clean desk and super clean kitchen, and I'm waking up at this time and everything's great. And like, that might be some people's reality, but I'm a messy person. I'm a messy son of a bee, okay? Especially because I'm in this like ADHD craft mayhem right now. I cleaned my entire writing desk off. I have an L-shaped desk. It's fairly large. Less than 24 hours later, I couldn't even see the desk. It was covered in papers and pens and ink pots and scissors, which I love that because I love crafting. But I don't want to have to worry about constantly trying to curate the most beautiful shot that I can. Even though I enjoy watching stuff like that, I don't want to get the 15 shots. I don't want to spend forever editing. I prefer, which is really, this is a long-winded way of, of me saying what you can expect is more vlog style and almost like documentary style-esque videos from me that don't have to do with self-publishing. I'm a huge fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, and when I was thinking about starting a business a few years ago, I watched his videos religiously. He's a businessman and entrepreneur, and I love his mindset about everything and work ethic and his view, and so I just binged his videos like they were oxygen. But he used to do this thing that he would call Daily V, and he had a guy, I'm pretty sure they still work together, I just haven't watched Gary V's stuff in a while, D-Rock, who would follow him around and film everything that was going on for the day. It was a daily vlog. And some of the shots were kind of curated, like he'd be sitting at a desk and it was in frame or whatever. But a lot of it was just they're walking through the hall, talking to each other, or he's talking to other people, or he's doing some kind of business stuff, or they're in the car going somewhere and D-Rock's asking him questions. And that's what I like. That feels authentic to me personally, as somebody who's wanting to start to make content on here. The beautifully curated videos are fantastic to watch, but that is not my life. I am aesthetic in the sense that my writing space is the one place where I try to make this cohesive environment that inspires my creativity. by doing candles and warm lighting and pretty stuff in the background. But my life is not like that. And when I watch videos like that, I sometimes go, it takes away from the fun of experiencing whatever it is you're doing. Like if I'm trying to get the perfect shot of me reading a book or showcasing a book, it takes away from the enjoyment of the actual book. You know what I'm talking about? So that's just what to expect. I like that more of vlog style, more informal, not so worried about perfect lighting and perfect depth perception and is everything perfect and stuff like that. I just want more of a real, raw, documentary style vlog. It was a very long-winded way of me saying just expect vlogs. Like vlogs that aren't curated to look super beautiful. Some shots might be, you know, because I do like doing that, but too much of it is exhausting. All right, now let's talk about querying. So I got a rejection yesterday. I'll explain more about querying in this video actually, because when I do the other one of me actually doing it in real time, I don't want to have to go through all of this. So basically, if you want to get traditionally published, meaning having your book in a bookstore, picked up by a publishing house, things like that, you cannot just go straight to the publishing house. You can't say, I've got a book, here it is, will you look at it? You used to be able to do that way back in the day. It doesn't work like that anymore. So you have to go through a middleman, which is the literary agent. In order to get a literary agent, you have to submit your completed book and what they call kind of like a query package, and it's different for every agent, so you have to make sure you're following their rules. But it can mean a query letter, which is essentially saying, hey, this is my book title's name, this is the genre, this is the word count, these are comparable book titles that have similar concepts to my book. That's a huge deal, is comp titles. You kind of send that in, your little summary basically of what goes on. I won't get into the nitty-gritty because it's a lot. You do that, you usually do a synopsis, which is like 1 or 2 pages of kind of like a play-by-play. All the emotion is really sucked out of the story. It's not anything like writing a novel. It's just like A happens, B happens, C happens, D happens. It's a synopsis for the literary agent to read of what happens throughout the course of your entire book. Usually they will request either the first 5 pages, the first 10 pages, the first 3 chapters, the first 10,000 words, the first 20 pages. It all depends. So you have to make sure that you are doing what they're asking. And most of the agents you can find on querytracker.com, .net. I don't know, where the heck is my highlighter? There it is. So let's say you find Joe Schmo as an agent and you want to query Joe Schmo. What agency they work for will be on Query Tracker, so you can go to that website and you can view the agents. It'll usually have what they call their manuscript wish list, which sounds exactly like what it is. It's books that they want to read or manuscripts that they're looking for. And you can find out what genres they represent, everything like that. So you look at that, you want to make sure if they're accepting queries, because sometimes agents close periodically to catch up and just to do other agent stuff that I don't know about. On the agency's website, you can find the most up-to-date info. And it'll usually say their preferences for what they want you to submit to them, and if they want you to submit by email or through Query Tracker, which becomes Query Manager. You're on Query Tracker and then you go to submit and it takes you to Query Manager, you upload your files, boop, submit, and then it goes to them. So they're one and the same, I guess, I don't know. So that's a brief overview of how querying agents works. So I started doing that on April 27th. I sent out my first batch. That's what I heard you're supposed to do, is send out queries in batches. So I did 10. Out of those 10, I've heard back from 3, and they were all form rejections, meaning there's no personalized feedback. I just realized I didn't put concealer on my lids, but whatever, I don't care. What was I saying? A form rejection will say something like, thank you for submitting your book's title. While we found some promising things, so-and-so agent is choosing not to go with this book at this time. Sometimes it can sound more personalized, but it's not. You'll know when you get personalized feedback. I've gotten 3 rejections from the first batch of 10. Querying takes an incredibly long time too. It takes agents a while to respond because they are so overwhelmed, particularly with the market right now, and particularly in fantasy and fantasy romance, which is the genre that I'm trying to get into because it's incredibly saturated. It's the most, romantasy actually is the most oversaturated genre. So they have a lot coming at them. So don't expect, some people respond really quickly. One guy responded in a day, rejected me in a day. It's okay. I have a very high rejection tolerance, pain tolerance. I don't know, I'm gonna talk about that in a minute too. But anyway, so most of it takes a long time, like months and months, if you even hear from them at all. So anyway, got rejected 3 times. I sent out another batch of 10 on May 27th, so just a few days ago. And I heard back from someone yesterday, which again is pretty damn fast. And it was a rejection, it was a form rejection. So in total, I've got 4 rejections and I sent out 20 queries. So minus those 4, there's still 16 out there that I haven't heard from. I'm going to send out another batch, probably of 10, I don't really know, but I went through Query Tracker and I looked at everybody who represented fantasy and I color coded everyone green and purple and yellow. Green meaning I thought I would have the best shot with them. Purple meaning I thought it probably would have been a good fit, but wasn't 100%. And yellow was just kind of like, maybe? And that usually had to do with the agent. Maybe they just said they were kind of vague on what they were looking for. Oh, I want a fantasy book. But they didn't say, some people will say, oh, I really like stuff with witches or werewolves or whatever, but some are just a little bit vague in what they want, so I would put them in the yellow category. Everyone I've queried so far has been in my green category. And in the second batch was my dream agent, and I haven't heard anything from her. On Query Tracker, you can see the average response time. I don't know if you have to pay for that or not. I have the paid version. It's only 25 bucks for the whole year, so I think it's definitely worth it for me. But you can see more of the stats of the agent and kind of what they are requesting and what they're rejecting and stuff like that. So that is my update with that. If I send out 10 more, then I'll have sent 30. I think in total, I don't know how many greens I had that I was submitting to in the US and the UK, because you can submit to countries that you don't live in. So we'll see how that goes. But it's just a long process in general, and I'm here for it. When I was talking about earlier that I have like a high pain tolerance or like rejection tolerance, and I've said this before in other videos, but I think I'm a very coachable person, and I think that comes from playing competitive team sports for almost all of my life, like from the time I could walk all the way through college. And just I like when the odds are against me, and I like the tough love kind of thing. Getting rejected for what I'm submitting, I don't take that personally. It just makes me want it even more. If an agent passes on my work, I don't internalize that. I don't take it as, well, I must be a shit writer. They must hate it. Something must be wrong. I don't feel anything. I haven't felt anything when I've gotten a rejection, a query rejection, and you're probably thinking, well, there might be a problem with that. It's another thing that I like about Gary Vee, because he talks about how when people sing his praises or talk shit about him, he's like, I don't listen to the really highs, like you're the best, you're the reason for my existence, you know, everything. And he doesn't listen to the people that are like, you're the worst human being on the planet. He's like, I try to stay in the middle. I don't get too high and I don't get too low. And that's where I feel like I hover, is I don't ever think that I've written a phenomenal book, but I also don't ever think that I've written an absolute garbage book. Obviously, some days are gonna be harder than others, but in general, I don't hate the entire book, and that feeling passes, but I stay fairly balanced. I also went into this knowing the expectations and managing those, because I have people in my life who are in the querying process right now. And I research things till I'm blue in the face. So I watched a bazillion videos about how this process goes, how difficult it is to succeed, stuff like that. So I wasn't going in blind. I wasn't going in thinking, ooh, you know, I'm gonna get an offer in my first 10 queries because my book is so great and they're gonna love it or whatever. I went into it with very realistic expectations, and I think that is a huge part of why I'm not defeated when I open my emails and I see that I have a query rejection. Normally I do my eyebrows before I start to do my eye makeup, but I don't have my glasses on and I can't see shit really, so it's almost like I just forgot that they even existed. It's like I can't even see them in the mirror right now. So when it comes to querying, I'm in it for the long haul. I expect it to take a really long time. I can't really talk while I'm doing wing liner, hold on. After I send out this next batch of queries, I'll probably hold off for maybe another month or so because it just takes a while to respond. So if I have 30 queries out there and I only get form rejections back, I might revisit my pages. And it's hard too because with form rejections, like, you don't know what's wrong. You don't know what they didn't like about it. Maybe they didn't even get past the first paragraph of your query letter. Maybe they didn't even read your book, but you're not gonna know with a form rejection. Unless you're getting personalized feedback, it's difficult to know what to change. But if I hear back from a decent amount of people and they're all form rejections, then I might have to go back and take a look at something. Now, I did pay one of the editors who edited that book that I'm querying to help me with a pitch package, which is for the query process. It's the query letter. She did the first 10 pages. She looked at it a few times, provided feedback, and helped me with the synopsis. So that's good and that's bad, because if a professional is helping me with it, then I trust them and I trust her reputation and I enjoy working with her and stuff like that. If she's helping me with the pitch package and if I just keep getting rejections, it's probably not the pitch package. It's probably my actual book. Which again, could be disheartening for some people. I also understand that I am very new to this world. I've been writing little things here and there growing up since middle school, but I've never taken writing seriously until 2022. So, like mid 2022. So we're only coming up on just about 3 years, which is very young in the author world. That's basically, you're like a baby author is what they say. One thing that I like in Brandon Sanderson's lecture videos and just any of his videos in general, he talks about how the first few years you shouldn't really be focused on selling books. You should be focused on finding your, oh my God, what's the word? On finding your process. And I think now with this book that I'm writing, I'm about a little less than a third of the way through my work in progress. Now I think I've really found my process for what works and what doesn't with me. So this is the first time I'm trying all of it out. I learned a lot with my previous book, Shadowbound, and so I'm taking that and any of the things that I needed to change from that process, and I'm bringing it to my current project, which is called On Vengeful Seas. So I feel very confident that now I have found what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and I'm excited to make a video about that to see if I'm right, to see if I figured it out and I finally nailed down my process or I need to tweak a few things. Lastly, we're gonna do the eyebrows. You know how when you always put the right sock on first and then the left or whatever? I always do my eyebrows before my eyeshadow, and doing it this way just feels off. That's all I really wanted to talk to y'all about today. Is a little query update, just rejections, but we're still chugging along. Gonna send out more, possibly today if I have time to record that. And then just kind of letting you know that vlog style is going to be my jam for the way that I film videos from here on out. Some things I'm gonna try to make pretty and nice. And I know that a lot of doing those really quick cuts and getting multiple shots is because we all have the attention span of a goldfish right now. But I like the slow way of doing things. and I like being able to talk at my own pace, which is also a reason I wanted to do this and not just TikTok, because with TikTok, you have to grab people's attention in like 2 seconds. 1.5 pretty much. And if you're coming to YouTube, you're coming here because you have the time to watch a longer video. So I don't have to rush. I don't have to do some marketing grab pitch right at the beginning. You know, it just is what it is. This is what you're getting. All right. So oh, that was kind of loud. Just laid back, chill. This is what I'm doing. Some of it might look aesthetic. Some of it probably won't. Then that's what I can bring to the table. Probably shouldn't do this and talk with my mouth open, but I'm gonna blow dry my hair off camera. But that's all I wanted to say, is just to give y'all a little update. I'm gonna be working on getting some B-roll and making a little intro, because I don't have an intro for this channel yet. I was testing out my intro phrase of "What's up, fellow writer friends," which I kind of like. I might try out other things. I don't know. I'm just figuring this out as I go. Last time I'm gonna talk about Gary Vee. I mean, probably not the last time, but his whole thing is document, don't create. That goes back to the whole trying to make sure every video is filmed perfectly and from great angles and lighting or whatever. Is don't worry about creating a masterpiece, just document what you're doing. Just showcase your process. I'm gonna be talking about how I outline books and how I plan books and how I do edits and what happens on days where I just wanna throw it in the garbage, and things that my writing group and I talk about, and feedback and beta readers and all this kind of stuff, and showing the process, all of this, of creating a book, creating a story from here and getting it out to paper. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what I want to showcase on this channel. Yes, I want to help you guys with your self-publishing questions, but this is also an outlet for me. This is an outlet where I can slow down, I can be myself, I can talk about what I want to talk about. And I hope you stick around and stay along for the ride.